right, the time is 1:04 p.m. on, what's today's date? July 22nd, 2025. Calling to order the Board of Equalization for final determinations. With us today, we have Commissioners Burmeister, Mixon, and Klug, as well as our County Administrator, Bonnie Moore, Kendra Kaler from the Clerk and Register of Deeds Office, and Dan Pittman, our County Assessor. With that, I ask you please silence your cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 4 is part of the Open Meeting Act, which is located on the north wall of the boardroom. Item number 4 is public comments. Just want to open up to any public comments before we get into the agenda. These aren't necessarily ones we can specifically address ones for Board of Equalization in just a moment. These are just for if anybody has anything else to state to the board before moving forward. And with that, we'll move on to agenda item 5. So with this, a total of 650 protests were filed with the county clerk. The recommendations of the referees have been received and reviewed by this board. Protests 2025-645 and 2025-646 were filed late and will not be considered by this board. A complete list of the property valuation protests 2025-1 through 2025-650 is on file with the Office of the County Clerk. Dan Pittman, the county assessor, will address the board and will receive evidence and record documents and official records on file that are in his office. I want to open up to any board members if you have any comments or concerns regarding the protests for the referee recommendations. And if not, I'm going to open up to Dan Pittman, the county assessor, to make his public statement. Good afternoon, Dan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd like to provide a brief overview of Nebraska's property tax assessment and equalization procedures for those in this hearing. All property in Nebraska is subject to property tax unless specifically exempt by the state constitution or by statute. Each January 1st, all real property is assessed at 100% of actual value, with one exception: agricultural and horticultural land. That category is assessed at 75% of its special value, the value derived from its use solely as agricultural and horticultural purposes without influence from outside market performance. The Nebraska Constitution requires that real property be valued uniformly and proportionately, a principle known as equalization. In practice, this means that the valuations of comparable properties must reflect the equivalent attributes to ensure fairness across the board. County assessors play a critical role in the process. They're responsible for assessing all real property using professional recognized mass appraisal methods, including the sales comparison approach, the income approach, and the cost approach. In April, the Nebraska Tax Equalization Review Commission convenes statewide equalization. During this period, the Commission reviews property assessments across counties and may adjust the value of entire classes or subclasses of real property within any jurisdiction to achieve consistency statewide. By June 1st each year, the county assessors issue valuation change notices to owners whose assessments have changed from the previous year. If a property owner disagrees with their assessed value, they may file a formal protest with the county clerk by June 30th. Between June 1st and July 25th, the County Board of Equalization is tasked with reviewing these protests. The board may appoint referees to hear the individual cases, but retains authority over the final decisions. Ultimately, it's the board's duty to ensure the fair and equitable valuation of all real property within its jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. With that, item 5.1 is a public hearing and board action. Property evaluation protests, Form 442, on residential, commercial, and/or rural properties, 2025-1 through 2025-650, excluding withdrawn late and duplicate filings and final determinations. With that, I would like to open up to the public if there's anybody that wishes to address the board of equalization on their evaluations. And if you could please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
It's Gerald Vendeska, 19506 South Highway 31, Gretna, Nebraska.
And do you have your protest number?
Yeah,
so we can reference.
if you wanted. It's 3 parcels.
Okay.
You want the protest number, not the parcel number?
Really soon. It's going to be easier. Probably protest number is going to be easier to find.
Protest number is 103, 104, and 105. Or wait a minute. Yeah, 103, 104, no, 102, 103, and 104.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Well, I'll keep it kind of brief because, as you know, I sent all of you a letter explaining my position on these two issues, the home site issue and the wasteland issue. So I don't want to be repeating myself. I'm not going to focus very much on the home site issue because I think ultimately the only way to resolve that is there has to be a change in the regulations that gets a little more specific so there isn't so much wiggle room on how home site can be interpreted because well, as I've stated before, I'll just, like I say, make it brief, but like on our property, the model says an acre on the property is about a little over $10,000 an acre, and yet the assessor puts an acre into the house at $100,000, and then additional acres for the site acres, over 10 times the actual market value of an acre. So what really has to be done is the regulation has to be clarified where that acre can't be any more than any of the other actual market value of any of the other acres. But anyway, that's why I won't dwell on that. But as far as the wasteland issue, it might be helpful to read into the record the Turk decision from 16A0130, which is the first page that I sent you. And it says, this was a decision in 2016. It says the subject property is classified as agricultural and horticultural property subject to special valuation. As such, the influences of non-agricultural or horticultural uses on the value of the acres on the subject property is not to be considered when determining assessed values. The evidence before the Commission does not indicate that the acres classified as timber by the assessor could be used for an agricultural or horticultural purpose. The County Board determined that the land classified by the assessor as timber should instead be classified as wasteland. The record before the Commission fails to demonstrate that this determination of the County Board was unreasonable and arbitrary. And so that was the decision there, and every subsequent year since that, the County Board has determined that this is wasteland. I'm at a loss to see why we have to go through this every year, but I'm willing to do it because it adds up to quite a substantial amount of extra assessment for us. In fact, the difference between wasteland and timberland is about $1,000 difference. Timberland is assessed at about $1,300 or more an acre, and the wasteland is $300. So when you're dealing with 90-some acres of land, it's quite a bit of assessment more. And then the second page of the handout that I gave you, it's the decision of the referee. I don't agree with it at all. In fact, it makes zero sense to me. The referee says, to conclude this analysis, waste and timber areas have the same contributory value to the property. Well, to the farmer, I guess that's a true statement. They do have the same contributor. Neither one of them produces income for you. But as a taxpayer, they have a greatly different $1,000 difference contributory value. And then he has for point 2, the remainder of the property may have benefits for the proximity to the waste and timber areas. Well, that's pretty hard to quantify. It might be true, there might be benefits, but how do you quantify that economically? But you can quantify $1,000 difference in assessment. But then the last one, I don't see any logic in that. It says, the overall value of the property is the critical issue. not specifically whether the land is properly allocated among the pieces. Well, how you add up the pieces determines the overall value. So I don't understand that statement at all. It's if one way I pay a lot more taxes and the other way I don't. And so anyway, the bottom line is what I'm requesting is that the board votes to change all the timberland, the 90-some acres of timberland, back to wasteland like we have for the last 9 years.
And just for the record, that's specifically related to protest 2025-103, is that correct?
And 102, 103, and there's waste on all three properties.
Based on all three properties.
103,
2, 3, and 4.
104, and 102.
Okay.
2, 3, and 4, yeah.
With that, do we have a number as far as what potential valuation would be on that if it were quantified as wasteland?
Yeah, I figured it out before I came here. I can read off the numbers to you. On parcel 102, the total value, instead of 856,594, it would be 794,189 if that became wasteland.
Okay.
And 103, instead of 369,969, it would actually be 340,035. And on 104, instead of 106,920, it would be 103,982.
And just a question on the Turk decision, was that in your favor?
Yeah, well, Assessor Pittman was challenging the county board's decision that it was wasteland.
Okay.
And whenever you go, that's the problem when you go to Turk as a taxpayer or as the assessor, the burden of proof becomes on you. So he had to prove that the county board's decision was arbitrary or unreasonable. And they said it wasn't arbitrary and unreasonable, but actually the way wasteland as timber is allocated in Sarpy County, that's what's really arbitrary and unreasonable, because any one of you, I could walk you into the woodlands on our property or anybody else's property, and part of it would be waste, part of it would be timber, but you wouldn't see no difference. It all looks the same. And so it's pretty arbitrary how it's picked. But the bottom line is, the definition of wasteland is it has to be land that produces an agricultural commodity. Otherwise, it's wasteland.
And there's no timber being harvested on your property?
No, it's wild timber, you know. It's not
What kind? Cedar trees?
cedars, oaks, elms, all types of hardwood and deciduous.
Please let the record show that Commissioner Warren is present. Question for the assessor. Dan, quick question. Mr. Van Deska had his calculations of what it would be valued at as wasteland. Does your office concur with those, or no? Not even if that's not what they would be valued as if it was valued under wasteland. All right.
If you would.
If you-
Question.
Yeah, well, we don't quantify that.
Okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Pittman, could you state your reasons then?
Excuse me a second. County assessor is tasked with going out to agricultural land to determine how the land's used. Might be dry row crop, might be irrigation, it might be grassland, it might be CRP land, and that's what we've done. We've gone out and looked at the land, and we have a lot of timber in Sarpy County. Sarpy County's hilly, and you're going to have timber. And my contention is that timber is what holds low soils from draining into the creek and becoming wasteland. So if you have a field here and you have some timber here, it's holding that bank and that field in place. Take away that timber, and it does become wasteland. It goes into the creek. And we have a lot of that in Sarpy County. So it's not like we're western Nebraska where they don't have that much timber. So we walk it, we classify it, we try to be mindful of equalization while we're going through, treat neighbors the same as neighbors. Don't get them all completely right, but we believe in this case, we've looked at this timber issue very thoroughly. We've had referees take a look at it, and we've conferred on that. And I'm not saying they agree with us, but they've looked at it too. And that timber has a purpose, and it's not waste. Some of it is, and we classify it as waste at $300 an acre. But the timber is another issue. Mr. Vendeska is talking about a 2016 Turk case that mainly swung around alluvial lands along the Platte. And so the river is always changing, and there were some areas that were kind of recreational that we contend was stabilized and now became timber area. Well, Mr. Vendeska won the argument that that wasn't stabilized. For this year, we took the aerial maps going back, how many years, Jameson?
Back to 1955, I believe.
That's a while back. And so we looked at all the overlays at how the river ran and looked to see what was stabilized and what was alluvial, what was new and shifting. And we only classified timber on the stable land. If it's still just sand that's moving about, we called it waste. So we got a little more scientific about it.
Okay, even if the trees are volunteer?
Well, most of the trees are volunteer. Yeah, I don't see many people planting those by the ravines. Shelter belts, yes.
Right.
Things like that.
Well, that's why I was going to ask Mr. Vendeska, how many trees have you planted on your property?
I planted a lot of them, but there was a lot of them there when we got here. But the bottom line is we have of order we're supposed to go by things. The county board is the final say at the county level. If, as Assessor Pittman did, he challenged the county board, and the county board disagreed with him. And each year you guys have put it in wasteland. Well, instead of making me have to waste my time and your time every year to have to come down here on the same issue, the order is that if he disagreed with you last year, he was supposed to go to the Turk and see if he could get the Tax Equalization Review Board to agree with him. My job would be to be down there and hopefully they'd agree with me. Now, and as far as trees, I have a degree in natural resources. I know what trees can do and what they can't do. But the bottom line on that is, just like I read you in the Turk decision, it has to produce an agricultural commodity, saleable agricultural commodity. Otherwise, it's wasteland. And that's why I'm here, because I pay a lot of taxes, and I want to keep it as low as I possibly can under the law.
Okay. I understand. So yeah. I guess I've heard a lot about this over the years, but now the question comes down to wasteland and timber. And you say wasteland is just that. It doesn't produce anything. Then we have timber, and the county assessor is saying, well, that timber is doing something. It's holding the soil in, okay? But it's not timber that's being milled or farmed. I mean, it's not being harvested as timber. Mm-hmm. Okay, so can somebody come up and maybe legal or somebody explain that? Is there that definition, or can you make the I won't use this word. Can you make the argument that those trees are holding land or holding soil back, and that then quantifies it in a different category? You see, my point is,
sure.
I'm hearing two things, and I don't know what's right. So wasteland is can't do anything. Timber, it's timber for harvesting. Is that correct or not correct?
Well, generally, if you got timber for harvesting, they're usually groomed trees that.
No, I understand. I'm trying to timberland.
I'm just thinking from my perspective, bank stabilization is a good thing, right? And all the years on the NRD board, it was all about bank stabilization.
Yeah. And
I struggle with the argument that because it's protecting his property from getting washed away, that he should get taxed at a higher rate for it. I don't. Yes, there is a value to the trees being there. It's so his part doesn't wash away.
Well, I don't know why
you should.
I could also say the value of those trees are shade. The value of those trees are oxygen. The
Oh,
value
yeah,
of those
you could
trees.
say lots of things,
Yeah.
wildlife, pollinators,
Yeah.
things like that.
So I'm looking at, is there something in the state statute that defines it? I mean, clearly defines it, that timber is, if you're labeling it as timber, it's harvested timber.
Well,
I don't-
I could read for it and show you here. I didn't put this in my testimony, but Regulation 004.04. Classes of agricultural and horticultural land. The assessor is responsible for an accurate inventory of each parcel into the current agricultural and horticultural land class. And they list 4: irrigated cropland, dryland cropland, grassland, and wasteland. They don't list timberland. They list only those 4. I could show you the regulation.
That's fine. Do we?
Okay, may I speak?
Please.
All right. Jameson McShane, I'm the agricultural appraiser, and I'm in charge of the rural acreages and all the farms for the county. I do have the definitions printed. They were in the BOE packet. I wanted to start with the wasteland definition because I feel the appellant is basically stopping at the first sentence of wasteland. So it's quite long. Bear with me. I'm going to read it out loud. So wasteland includes land that cannot be used economically and are not suitable for agricultural or horticultural purposes. I believe that's where the protester stops. Such land types include but are not limited to blowouts, river wash, recent unstabilized alluvial deposits, marshes, badlands, large deep gullies, including stream beds and banks, bluffs, rockland, gravel areas, and salt flats. To qualify for wasteland, the land must be lying in or adjacent to and in common ownership or management with land used for agricultural or horticultural purposes. Some of these areas could be developed or reclaimed for some beneficial use by land shaping, revegetation, drainage, and possibly other special practices. Until they are reclaimed, developed, and restored to agricultural production or recreational use, they shouldn't be classified as wasteland. Other land which may be classified as wasteland are permanent easement acres associated with the Bureau of Reclamation or irrigation districts, which are defined as open canals or ditches, laterals, drains, and service roads for the canal system. Assessors need to verify or be aware of the type of deed or easement that may be filed for these areas before making any determination of classification. So that's the lengthy definition of wasteland. Here is, there are actually, I believe, 6 or 7, not 4, like Mr. Venduska has stated. There are 6 or 7 classifications. One of them would be forest land and shelter belt areas. The definition of that includes natural and planted stands of trees and or shrubs where livestock grazing is not practiced or possible. Areas where grazing occurs will be classified as timbered grassland. That would be the T1. This includes any natural stands of timber. Planted forests include areas planted for windbreaks, shelter belts, wildlife habitat, wood products, and living snow fence. Areas that include a combination of both planted and natural forests will be in this classification. Trees planted for nursery stock, tree farms, orchards, and other horticultural purposes will be categorized and analyzed separately to determine their value. So that's the 2 definitions. I know they're lengthy, but they do define the difference between wasteland and timberland. Now, we recognize that there's not any production use to this timberland. That's why we're valuing it much lower than dry crop or irrigated cropland. He mentions the $1,000 difference. That is quite a bit of difference, but really I think it's fair. And by definition, by state statutes, I feel like we're valuing it accordingly. So, I don't know.
So can I ask?
Yeah.
So assessor's office valued it as timber.
As timber 2, we have 2 classifications of timber. Yep.
And so if it were waste, I guess the assessor's office doesn't have a number for wasteland. Is that accurate? Is that what Dan said?
We value it at 300 an acre.
Okay.
Yeah.
And timber 2 is what per acre?
I have the sheet over there. It ranges from, I believe, 1,000 to 1,400 an acre.
Is that 1,000,
Right.
1,400 just on his
There's
property, or is that
different there's different soil classifications, so the range, thank you. So for forest land, like the definition I spoke to, it ranges from 888 to 1,331 an acre.
On his property, or are you talking about the overall range?
Just the overall, that's specific to the soils. I don't know what it is on his property. I'd have to pull that record card up.
Okay.
Mine is 1,300.
So his is at the higher soil tier, the 1,331.
And again, I'm sorry I was late. And I talked to Gerald yesterday and some of the stuff I've been looking at. So why would you classify his ground as the higher value rather than the lower value of timber?
That's just the soil designation that's designated by the state. So we don't determine that. But it ranges from 888, depending on the soil type, to the 1331.
So you test the soil and then it tells you on a range?
I
Sorry, I
believe
don't know
it's
how that works.
NRCS. I wish I knew what that stood for, but they test the soils and then they send it to the state, and then the state determines the soil types and the soil codes.
Okay.
They send those to us, and we just value.
How many
We just
acres
value
is?
the product. Basically they tell us what we're valuing, and we apply the code to the value, or the value to the code.
Okay.
So another thing I did want to point out while I have your time is the Turk case that was mentioned before. It only applied to one parcel. It didn't apply to all 3 parcels. It applied to parcel 0103-98945, which is the southernmost parcel of his 3 properties. The Turk case 16A0130.
And that's because of the soil type?
I think they were alluding to the alluvial soil, the trees. They were classifying as waste because of the sandy soil. I don't know if it was because of the soil type. I don't know the exact determination, but it was only alluding to that certain parcel. It wasn't alluding to the other 2 parcels that we're talking about.
And is the reason for the assessor's office opinion that's different than the Turk opinion, is the reason, am I understanding that the position is that the property's changed since the Turk opinion? Is that what the position is?
Our position is that we have looked thoroughly at that Turk case, and we are now valuing it as if though that is waste. It's a certain part that used to be unstabilized, that was alluvial deposits. Now it's been stabilized by trees, which by definition would be timber. But what we've done is we've taken that Turk case and valued that section accordingly. And we're basing it off a 1955 aerial where there were no trees.
Let me ask that question differently.
Okay.
Are you saying that you disagree with the Turk case, or are you saying that there's something different on the property than when the Turk case was decided?
I'm saying we are agreeing with the Turk case, and have changed that parcel, not the other 2.
Thank you. And then I have a question for the referee coordinator. So looking at your information, is it that the referee disagrees that waste and timber 2 are different values. Are you saying that you think those are the same values and therefore the total number is the same?
I don't know if I can say yes or no directly, so let me kind of expand on this a bit. This was an issue that came up last year and has been forefront in our minds for the last year. This year, with all the hearings with agricultural properties, I was kind of got carried away with interviewing them after we went through their evidence and said, okay, talk to me about how you evaluate properties for purchase. When you see waste and you see timber, how do you price those differently? Because the sales data that the assessor had gathered was showing statistically that there was some sort of difference between how those were pricing out. So how do we reconcile this notion that timber and waste are showing different prices in the data, but every farmer I talked to, including Mr. Vendiska, said, I don't buy it for the trees. That's not productive land for me. I'm buying it based on how much cropland is productive for me. What am I expecting to get out of that property? That's my basis. So as far as from our standpoint, whether this section of trees should be 300 or 1,300 an acre, we kind of took a step back and said, well, let's look at that sales data a little closer and see maybe there's some other way to look at this. So I worked with Jameson McShane and said, let's look at the sales and see the sales you pulled these prices from these nearby counties. Did they have tree and wastelands also? And of course, yes, they did. So then we kind of ran through and said, okay, well, how much of these properties was dedicated or allocated to tree areas, waste areas, et cetera, and get to kind of more like not just a gross price per acre, but more of like a price per usable acre, price per how much farmland am I actually getting, and kind of look at how much of a pro rata of the whole property is really usable. When you look at it that way, it kind of gets past the whole like, should it be 300 or 1,300? It's more like this whole farm should be $800,000. Where you put that among the different parts kind of doesn't matter as long as you're matching to similar looking farms. They're all going to have a little bit of waste. We're going to have a little bit of waste. They're going to have some timber. We're going to have some timber. As long as we're matching in similar types of properties, the overall value should be reflected appropriately then. So that kind of became our focus in looking at how much of the agricultural properties that were protested this year had some of these waste or timber areas. That became the focus. That was why the comment in the write-up said it's the overall number that really matters. We spent a lot of time out here, it's at 300 or 1,300. And really, if we change it, probably the whole overall number should be 800 to like call them even, right? But ultimately, it came down to what sort of data did we have in front of us to show that the value was wrong. And we just didn't have data to show otherwise.
And Mr. Vendeska, how did you come up with your number? What number did you use for wasteland when you gave us your figures?
$300 an acre. If I could, I'd like to comment on a couple other things that were stated. It was correct, yeah, that the wasteland was on that river bottom piece. That decision, the Turk decision, was on that. But the reason of the 90 acres that I'm protesting, the lion's share of it was on that property right there. In fact, even right now, 58 of the 90 is on that bottomland piece. And then the definition of wasteland that was read, one of the things there was rockland. And just a quick overview of what happened to this part of the county. When the pioneers came here, it was all prairie. There was very few trees. They plowed the prairie, and it was hilly ground, so it eroded. There was no heavy equipment to control erosion, no terraces, anything like that. The topsoil washed off, it made gullies, and the few trees that were there seeded the gullies. And like on our farm, bits in the breaks where it drops off down to the river, so it's steep terrain, and all the topsoil was washed off, and underneath is Dakota sandstone rock underneath there. And when the assessor's office came out, I showed him, I said, well, just under the surface, under the duff of leaves, you can stab a shovel and you hit the rock underneath there. You know, even if you tried to clear these trees, or if you grow these livestock, you would just destroy the land. So you just have to leave it alone and let nature take its course there. And the reason the other two properties got involved, it was the first property to start with, but the other two properties got involved. I showed it to the board the very next year, the 2017 tax year, how there's no equalization, there's no rhyme or reason to it. The same gully that came from a neighbor's property, on one side of the fence it was timberland, and on my side of the fence, or I mean, vice versa. On the neighbor's property is wasteland, and my side of the fence was timberland. There's no, and it should have been wasteland on both sides because it's not producing any economic value to the landowner. And that's how the other two properties came, where the county board ruled they were all wasteland. And I think that's correct. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Van Deska.
I just want to be sure, we've talked about some legal analysis. I just want to make sure we're not leaving the county attorney's office out if there was any comment on the definitions that we're giving. I'm not saying you should, I just want to make sure we're not missing something there.
The definitions were from the regulations. I don't have a comment on that.
Thank you.
I guess what it boils down to, it's kind of the prerogative of the assessor. You know, he's looking at this stuff, and somebody's saying timber and somebody's saying waste, and so basically he has a choice. He can make me pay the maximum taxes, or he can make me pay a little bit less. And I was hoping, you know, that coming before the board, I'd show that, well, if I'm not making any money on this, why shouldn't it be the lower amount instead of the higher amount?
Thank you, Mr. Van Deska. Any other comments or questions from the board? All right, thank you, sir. We will
Thank you.
move on. We will come back to this before we adjourn. This is a public hearing. Do you want to open up to anybody else that is here to protest the final determinations?
If I may, I'm legally blind, so I'm going to have my son-in-law accompany me.
Yes, thank you.
I left my traveling cane in my wife's car, so I'm afraid I don't have it.
You're fine.
Mike is here? Okay.
Welcome. If you could, please state your name and the protest number.
Okay. I'll state my name and ask my son-in-law to state the protest number.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
You bet. It's Thomas Wilson. Protest number is?
2025-540.
All right, if you could, just brief background on the situation where you, and justification for the protest.
Sure. I think my justification for protest is twofold. One is the methodology used by the assessor's office, and then the lack of allowing for the property in itself as opposed to the properties that it was used to compare against. As many of you know, where I'm at down there on Allied Road, we were flooded out in 2019. I've been going through cleanup work since then. Continue to make progress every year on cleaning out, but there is still work to do. I did bring pictures of some of I currently have, I think there are 9 mobile home, I'm down to 9 mobile home decks that I need to finish getting rid of. There's one full mobile home that I need to also get rid of, but I'm using it for storage currently. There are 2 outbuildings that are about 10 by 20 frame structures that collapsed that I need to clean up. And I believe that's probably the bulk of the cleanup work that I need to do. I think that one of the places where I struggle the most with the county's logic is that they've assessed my value as residential because that's how it's zoned, and they take the position that they have to assess it based on how it's zoned, but I don't believe that's a fair and accurate statement. This property has been, I've argued to the point where I'm ready to collapse on the fact that I was zoned ag, RMH previously. I've got pages from an appraisal that shows that zoning, and it also says that the property's highest and best use, according to Dennis Knudsen, with the appraiser that did the work, was recreational land because of its location to the river. He didn't identify residential as highest and best use, which one would have thought he would have if that was his opinion of the highest and best use would have been. The reality of life is the property cannot be developed as residential. The one area that has two areas that have a house on them per se, they're at the highest point in the property, and we have water issues with them. Back in 2019, I recall standing on the north side of the railroad tracks in La Platte, where it's bone dry, absolutely bone dry, and yet my property that's being classified as being exactly the same value was from 2 to 9 feet underwater. I don't get how it can have the same value. I mean, if I were to get flood insurance on it, that's going to be $1,500 a year. That by itself is going to diminish the value. I've got, like I said, still cleanup work to be done. That diminishes its current value. When the Nebraska Department of Roads came in and took a portion of my property, less than half an acre, they paid, it was 0.4 acres, they paid me like $2,300 for it. They didn't look at it and say, well, it's your first acre, so it's worth $58,000. So because it's 0.4, we're going to give you, $25,000. They said this is what it's worth. All of the properties surrounding mine are assessed, at roughly half the value of what mine is. None of their property valuations changed from last year to this, and yet mine almost tripled. The property across the street that was the Salvation Army, it sold in 2020 for $5,800 an acre. Granted, it had cleanup work to do, as does mine, and mine continue to be, but it's still substantially less than the $15,000 an acre that I'm assessed at. The acreage that I bought in 2006, I bought 6 acres for $30,000. The whole 6 acres is less than what I'm told the first acre is worth. So that when you look at the property itself, because of the sand base on it, you could not get a permit to put a leach field in there if you were going to try to do residential development, albeit a new 1 to 4 family dwelling or multifamily dwelling, either one. So it just without putting in a lagoon system or something, you simply cannot develop it as residential land. Therefore, it's inappropriate to assess it as residential land, even though it's zoned that way.
It's 3 o'clock.
I realize that I'm going to have to, one of the things I kind of backed off on it for a while, but I've come to the realization that the solution to my problem is to get the zoning changed. And so I'm going to go back and meet with Mr. Simons and try to finish up that process that we started previously. But I really think for those reasons, and if you want pictures of any of the damage that's still yet to be cleaned up, I did bring some pictures of some of the work that still needs to be done if the board wishes to have it. Otherwise, I won't waste your time with it. But I think that's probably what I wanted to say. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Looks like we have somebody from the assessor's office who would like to.
Jameson again.
Hey, Jameson.
Oh, did you have a question first?
I do. I have a
ahead.
question for Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, is your property in the floodplain, do you know?
Part of this property is in the 100-year floodplain. Otherwise, it's 500-year floodplain.
Okay, thank you. That's
What do
fine for now.
what do you see the value? Where do you,
I put it all at $7,000 an acre where the other stuff is. I just, really the big part that I had a problem with is that first acre being worth $58,000 because there's just literally nothing to support it. I mean, everything that's sold and traded around there has been in that $6,000 range, $6,000 to $7,000 range. So I'm saying 7.
so how many total acres? I'm sorry, I don't have all the detail. How many total acres are we talking
Yeah,
about?
it's just under 8.
Okay, just under 8. Is there a structure on here as well?
There is. I'm not contesting the value of the structure.
Okay. What is the structure?
The structure is a single-family house that was a barn house that was cut in two. It's a 520-square-foot home. It's a single-room home with a loft is the sleeping area in it. It's assessed at $84,000, I believe, which I might argue is high, but that's not what I'm here to argue about.
And all of your property is connected? All
Yes.
of your acreage? And so you have a residential structure on the property already then?
I do.
Okay. So, yeah, I now that just complicated everything as far as you're wanting to not have it as a residential, but you already have residential on there. So, you talk about your rezoning, you would have to be splitting this or something to try to change that. Now, I'm just sitting up here on my limited knowledge, so I'm not the planning and zoning people or anything, but I'm just, that sheds a different light on this as far as residential, because you already have residential, and it has to be classified as that to have that residential house on there, correct?
No, that's not exactly correct. There are several zonings that are in the ag category that does allow for a residential home to be on there. But even with that being said, the challenge becomes that the leach fields are non-conforming. So if you were to try to do something with that property, you wouldn't be able to because you wouldn't get a permit for putting in the leach field.
Okay, I understand.
But the ag zoning, which was one of the things I had pursued, would allow for you to have residential dwellings on it, but it still wouldn't be residential property.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So how many residents were down there before the flood?
Are you talking about the mobile homes or?
Yeah, the mobile homes.
Oh, there would have been 45 mobile homes down there.
And they were year-round residents, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now there is none, correct?
There is that is incorrect. I do have a mobile home that's my daughter and son-in-law's. I have one tenant that didn't get damaged by the flood into the living area. I have a maintenance man there. And I have a gentleman that was the old maintenance man who is also living there. And then, like I said, the single-family dwelling that's down there has a tenant as well.
Has the county provided you any assistance with the flood cleanup?
No, sir.
None.
They talked about it for a couple of years, but none ever came.
Okay. So just there's a house. There's at least 2 or 3 mobile homes?
If you don't, give me a second to do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4. And then there's just a bunch that are just sitting there flooded and can't be inhabited in?
Correct. We've torn them down to the decking. So we've got to finish getting the decking out and then dispose of the frames. And then we're kind of done. I would say to clarify, there are also a couple of mobile homes that I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I mean, right now, use them for, like the one I said is storage. I've got one that's up there by the main house that I use for storage. I don't know what I do with it.
Well, if it's uninhabitable, you should probably, demo it and tear it all away.
But-
That's just my opinion. But back to the county not providing you any assistance. Did you apply for assistance?
the county came to me and offered for assistance.
And was there preconditions?
I'm sorry, can you? say
Were there
again?
preconditions to the assistance?
I'm not sure how to say that. They wanted to know what I was going to use the property for. They didn't necessarily wanted to make sure I was using it for a purpose that they agreed with. And that's why I met with them, I don't know, half a dozen times or so. And every time they said they'd get back to me in a couple weeks, and they wouldn't. And after a few months, I would get back to them and they'd say, yeah, we got this money, we want to help you. But we need to come out there and look at it some more. They'd come out, and then they'd say they'd get back to me in a couple weeks, and nothing would ever happen. And then we finally got to the point where they said, well, I'm sorry, but we had to give them money back.
Commissioner Kelly, I'd ask Scott Bobick to come up, please.
Yeah, because I kind of remember it a little bit different than that. And Scott, what's your recollection of that?
Hi, Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You bet.
Sure, Scott Bovick, Deputy County Administrator. So did work with Mr. Wilson, I think his daughter at the time, having several meetings. I think, I don't recollect everything, but I think Mr. Wilson suffered flood damage, but he's not in the floodplain. So he wasn't eligible for any FEMA assistance. We did make $50,000 maybe of ARPA money available to Mr. Wilson to help try to clean up the property because there's just so much damage. I think my recollection is we continued to work and talked about a plan, rezoning, other options, but just never really saw progress there. I've been to the site. I know our planning and building department's been down there. It's just an enormous amount of work to, I think, get it cleaned up. So happy to continue to work with them on zoning and a path forward. I think where we maybe settled was maybe putting the property back into agricultural zoning, which would give them some flexibility. I remember that at one point we talked with Mr. Wilson about maybe allowing trailers to be stored there. That's not something that we would allow, like semi-trailer storage units. That wasn't something that would fit under any of the zoning. Does that ring a bell, Mr. Wilson, on some of that?
Yes, we did. And again, that actually came up quite a ways after we initially started discussions about the county offering cleanup assistance. So it was towards, I would say, a year ago that the opportunity for me to bring in these Connex boxes to use for outdoor storage came up. And so that's where we wanted to use that. I've been working with the county and in fact have a proposal from the county that would have included allowing for the Connex containers to be stored there. And the only point of dispute was that they came back. I'd provided two proposals to them that would have had part of the property be ag, have part of the property be either the whole thing be ag or have part of it be ag and part of it light industrial. And they didn't like either of those options, so they came back with a different ag. And to be honest, I just kind of got frustrated and quit dealing with it at the time. And that would have been late last year, but realized I can't just ignore it.
Yeah, and I think the challenge here is if we want to have it be industrial and want to have storage on it, then you can't do residential. And if you want it to be residential, then you can't do industrial uses. So just a little bit of that circular. So what we thought was go back, kind of revert the property back to agricultural zoning, and then Mr. Wilson could have single-family residential that's allowed under ag zoning, like in our rural areas. But then there's also some opportunities for special use permits to do some limited storage or some limited commercial in a way that we could be able to manage. And then that would at least get him able to get some economies out of the property, because I think right now he's just really kind of stuck
What
in
is
terms of what can be done.
I've heard that it's in the floodplain, then I've heard it's not in the floodplain. I heard it was in the 100-year floodplain, and you just said it's not in the floodplain. Is it in the floodplain or not?
I said part of the property was in a 100-year floodplain on the south side of it. That is a correct statement. I can't tell you whether it's a quarter of the property, it's not half the property, but it's it's a portion of the property is in a 100-year flood.
The property's not in the floodplain, correct?
I don't think
The structure, I mean.
the structures
The
that were on the
structures.
property that were damaged are not in a floodplain.
Are there
That-
any services down there?
There's electric, I have electric and I have water. The sewer that I have is leach field.
Okay, and I got one last question for you. If I offered you $115,392 for your 8 acres, would you sell it to me?
I would not.
Then why don't you think the tax is fair?
I'm protesting the property value because it's not equitable in relation to my neighbors. I thought the purpose of the assessed value was to have it be equitable.
Assessor?
Yeah, hi, Jameson McShane. I just wanted to point out that we're dealing with 3 parcels here. They are valued as one economic unit. The land value as it sits for, I believe it's a total of 17 acres, is $58,900 for the first acre, $10,500 for the next 2 acres, and then anything over 3 is valued at $7,000 an acre. We also have core slab valued. The land is valued using that same model, as well as I believe the 20 Club and other. If it's in the ALPR market area, then it's valued using the same model. So Mr.
Is Falconwood Park valued?
I believe
the same?
so.
Well, I'm not sure how that would be possible since their assessed value is 4,000, so.
Because you're dividing it by the total acres
Yeah.
and their value, where if you break it down, if you look at each parcel, they are actually being valued the same. The land is being valued the same as your parcel. They just have more acres.
See, but if your lowest number is 7,000, I don't care if you have 1 million acres. If it's $7,000, the lowest number should be something higher than 7,000 if you're spreading it out over 7,000.
That sounds accurate. I can't say that the 4,000 acres is accurate.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point that out, that the land is equalized in the area. I thought that was important to mention, so.
So I guess that's where I come back then. To answer your question, the $7,000 an acre on the ones over 3 acres, not really arguing that. And I think that's equitable. It's in line with what I paid for them. It's slightly over what I paid for the 6 acres. It's more than what I was paid for when the state took the property from me, but I don't think it's an unreasonable number. But you know, when the county used to assess me based on the income valuation approach, one was a mobile home park, regardless. I can't tell you whether I trust your math, Jameson, but you know, to me, the $58,900 for the first acre, that's not reasonable, and it makes it so that I pay more than what other people do, and it doesn't give an allocation for the fact that, well, my property having suffered flood damage, I have paid flood insurance on my house. That's an additional cost, which should reduce the value of the property if you amortize that over a useful life. I still have a lot of cleanup work to do. That's going to reduce the value of the property because if people come in and buy it, they're going to buy it with the burden of cleanup.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Wilson. Sorry to interrupt you, but can I ask you another question for the assessor? The first acre valuation, isn't that only on agricultural property?
No, it is the rural
Because
site.
I bought an acre and my valuation's not like that, so.
No, it is not necessarily only on agricultural property. It's designed for rural properties, for rural acreages, and farm properties. So if you're in a subdivision, then yours is likely valued as a lot value and not using the land model.
I got you.
The other thing I want to point out is we do value as current use, regardless of the zoning. We value the properties as what they are currently being used. In this case, it is residential. So
So would those
Wait.
neighboring properties also have the same first acre value?
They do, although they are commercial properties. We thought that that would be the fairest way to value them, to value the land. So it does extend outside.
Okay, so I was
Fair's in the
talking
eye of the
different
beholder.
acreages. Now, what's the total acreage are we talking about? Is it 17 acres or 18?
17.8
Yeah.
acres.
Okay, so 18 roughly.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
if I take 115,392 divided by 18, I think I come up with just under 7,000 an acre.
I'm sorry. The value that I have is just on my 7.92 acres. I have a 6-acre parcel that's assessed at $42,000, and then I have a 3-acre parcel that's Jameson.
Assessed at 20, it should be at
You've got 85,500 on that
Okay. Well,
22,000, right?
per acre.
Oh, okay.
It's just the value he had listed as 85 compared to 115 and 42.
So I think this is where some of my confusion comes in, is because I'm hearing different things, and then they come up and say, okay, there's actually 3 parcels that make up this one economic thing.
Yes.
Okay, if there's 3 parcels, is this parcel that I'm looking at, how many acres is the 115 representing?
it's 7.92 acres, I believe.
Okay,
Sounds right.
okay, so see, that was confusing to me, because then we're at 18 acres and everybody's saying it's all together. So that's why I divided the total by 18 acres.
Since there were 3 properties and I wasn't protesting the valuations on the other 2,
Right.
I didn't include them. I apologize for the confusion on that.
That's okay. I just needed the clarification. Thank you.
Based on those calculations, so the protested land is at $115,392. Based upon the landowner, Mr. Wilson's calculations, what are you defining the value of the property at?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
I was really just looking at the value of the land. And I was thinking that the value of the land should be around 56,000 instead of the, of the 115. And again, I'm looking at, and is that a good number? I don't know. I've still got a fair amount. I probably have $50,000 of cleanup work to do yet. So what do I take that off of? Well, I don't know. I just think if the cleanup work wasn't there, I still think it's worth about $56,000. But I'm not going to come back and try to say, well, I think it should be 0. That doesn't seem achievable. So, but I think the 7,000 an acre, considering what I paid for the other land, what I've been paid for the other land, I think those are reasonable numbers. And this math that they're using, it may be accurate, but it doesn't take in account the fact that that property is not worth the same amount as those up in La Platte are, since it's dry ground.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further questions?
A question, Tom. Are they applying that first acre twice, one to your house and one to the park?
No,
Or one to the,
No.
one of the 6 acres and one of the 7.9?
no, they
Okay,
just applied the 58.9 on the one parcel, and then on the other 2 parcels, they used the 7,000. So they were fair on that. I just disagree with that first acre being 58 when I can't get the 58 on anything.
Okay, I do have one more question.
Okay.
So based off the 7.92 acres that we're talking about, that you think should be valued at a lot less than what they have it as
On the land, yes, sir.
on the land. So how much damage is on the land right now? How much cleanup? And the other thing is, did you file anything? You're filing a protest. Did you file the protest due to damage, or for the reduced value because of all of the damage that's on the property? And I don't know, that might not even apply in this case because we're talking just land. So,
didn't specify in my protest what it was towards because I didn't know what the county would take into consideration in assigning the value. If the destruction to the property, the cleanup that remains, if that would influence the value or not.
I think that might be a question for the county attorney. Is the damaged property only apply to structures?
Damaged property can apply to land, but that type of valuation change is if the damage occurs after January 1st. It sounds like this was all damage that occurred years ago during the flood. So it wouldn't apply in this case.
Thank you.
And that's where I disagree with it because and law's law, so I'm not trying to argue law with you, okay? But when you go to sell a property, somebody's going to come in, they're going to look at it and say, well, it's a dump. I don't want to clean up all this stuff. These trailers that I'm cleaning up, they weren't my trailers. But because it was my property, I get stuck with cleaning them up. So what do? I clean them up.
We don't always agree with the law that's before us, Mr. Wilson, but we're stuck with it. So sometimes those issues come up for us and it makes it difficult. But there are some rules there that that we have to follow. But yeah, it's frustrating, I know.
Any further questions or comments for the Wilsons? Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate your consideration.
thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to address the Board of Equalization? And if you could, please state your name for the record and then the properties, the protest number, please.
I'm going to try. I'm going to have trouble hearing you. Okay. I got screwed up. I looked up the board meeting today on my phone. It said 3 o'clock. So,
No, we appreciate you being here.
Okay. I did make 6 copies for all the commissioners and a copy for the clerk.
Mr. Patterson, just for the record, so you're Mr. Ron Patterson, what's your address? What's your address?
Yeah, I'll give you my name and address.
Thank you.
Okay. Name is Ron Patterson. The address is 22202 Armbrust Lane, Gretna, Nebraska. Okay. I was here on 2 ag properties last year, and then the board did rule for me. This year, because it's controversy over this home site, 1 acre, and waste. And then I have another farm that we lost our water. We had trouble a year ago, and then over the winter, the well went down to next to nothing. So we've got a home there that we can't use. We've got a what they call a home site there that doesn't have the necessary utilities. Now, I got that on the last of my agenda because it's kind of complicated, but I'll get started here. This year, I added in some definitions, and one of them is the definition on home site, if you see it, and that's 1 acre or less. It can be less than 1 acre. There's nothing mandatory in the state law that Mr. Pittman testified to last year that this law required him to take a full acre. That was a very disturbing comment to me. That's not, and he knows the definitions. And there you see it. There's also a category lists cropland, irrigated, dryland, cropland, grassland, wasteland. That's it. Now, supposedly you can figure out other things from that. Okay. Okay, the first property I got here is pretty simple. That's going to be parcel number 011584262. I hate ever coming over here on these small items that save $50. But this is in your file, this is a 6.4 acre strip. Big ditch runs all the way through it, and it's all timber. It's basically always been wasteland, and Mr. Pittman kind of likes to kick it back to timber or something. And then I got to come back and get it fixed every year. I think I've been fixing it for the last 4 or 5 years. Now this year, the referee, he decided it's wasteland. But it's only wasteland because there's no crop ground on it. It's kind of a bizarre thing. But there's some crazy things happening. You're on this wasteland, on the trees and things. But anyway, as far as we are right now, the referee says it's wasteland. That's where we're at on it, okay?
So with that property, are you good with the referee's?
Pardon?
Are you good then with the referee's valuation of $1,920?
Am I agreeing with the referee?
Yes, on that one. Okay.
On this one, he put it back to where it should be. That's that $300 an acre times 6 something, couple thousand valuation.
Okay. Can I interrupt you for a second, Mr. Patterson? Is the assessor, could the assessor come up again real quick? Okay, I'm just a little confused here because it says classes of agriculture and horticultural land are irrigated cropland, dryland, cropland, grassland, and wasteland. So where does timberland come from?
Where does timberland come from in the definitions?
Yeah, is that considered agricultural or horticultural land?
Yeah, it's a component of agricultural, horticultural. You can't have wasteland without having agricultural land contiguous with it.
So this definition from statute that says classes of agriculture and horticultural land, there's only 4 listed. So timberland would be a subset of wasteland, or?
Here comes the appraiser.
Okay.
We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, I wasn't here probably.
I believe that is a shortened list. If you go through the regulations a little farther, which I'd have to pull them up online, there are actually 6 or 7 classifications of agricultural land. One of them is 004.04G. So that stops at D. There's also E, F, and G.
Okay, but they're not in this thing. So
they're just not.
You're saying they're in statute though?
They're in statute, yes.
Thanks.
So that's G. And I believe wasteland was the D, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So there are more classifications.
All right, thank you.
Than the 4.
Appreciate that.
I'll give you a brief comment. Turk said on this wasteland, if you can't raise commodities because we're under the ag assessment rule, that's where we're at on the law. You can't raise commodities on it and get any money off of it. It's wasteland. You can't get any money off of it. But we still have to pay taxes on it. So they had like $150. This year, Department of Revenue, they kicked it up to $300. So it cost me $6, but that's fine. But it doesn't bring me in any money. I mean, it looks pretty. It's fantastic. I got 250 acres of trees kicking out oxygen and sucking out carbon monoxide, so you guys are breathing my oxygen. Okay? So there's a lot of damn benefit to those trees, but you can't get and all of my acres are under conservation easements where you can't log it or anything, but Turk has said forestry is not ag commodity. Then it's still, they're saying it's corn, beans, whatever that farmer can sell. Otherwise, you can't get money out of it. It's wastelands. But, so why screw around with it? Now, this thing had been going on with this wasteland for almost 15 years. Now, several years ago, the board ordered Dan Pittman, and he's to come out to see me and take a tour. I put him in the pickup, and we go look at everything out there, and he's got Marty, somebody in the back seat, and he looks at it, he says, wasteland. Looks at it, wasteland. We covered every damn thing out there. And then he goes back to town. Next year, no paperwork change. However, a lot of mine is wasteland, and I don't even contest it. I'm not here appealing it because I can't do anything about the ag value. I don't agree with the ag value, but I can't fight it. And that's a tough one this year. And it's really, really tough when you get hit $1,000 in 1 year. I mean, shit, we're almost paying more in cash rent to the county. Now, I realize the school's getting most of it, not you guys. I don't mind paying the county bill, but that school bill is a disaster. Okay.
So yeah, Mr.
Can we move
Patterson.
on to the next one?
Yeah, you have several pieces. If you could specify the specific protest number. Are you able to specify the specific protest number as we go down these?
You're not going to have to.
Well, you can
forget.
cross-reference your
I'm gonna-
parcel number on.
Yeah, parcel number, something just so that we know exactly what you're referencing.
The next one is 0103 989 110.
Thank you.
It's about 1993 acres. And if you can find it in there.
I've got it.
I simply,
Yeah.
if you can look at this thing, there's one cornfield here. Over here, there's grass and waste. That's accurate. This is accurate. This whole thing is waste. But then they turn around, they mark part of it timber too, and it's the same damn field. So I just corrected that. I put that back into where it belongs as wasteland, and then adjusted the value on my protest form.
So they have you at 55,495, and you're requesting 52,845.
I don't know if you got that map in front of you, but if you look right across the road, the previous property, there's a picture of it there, and it's a continuous ditch, runs all the way for a quarter of a mile. And see, he puts timber 2 on it to get a little more money out of it, and it's wasteland. But we covered that one.
Any further questions for Mr. Patterson regarding
Yeah.
property 2 that we're discussing, which is parcel 010398910? Thank you, sir.
Are you ready for another one?
I think we're ready for the next one. Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, this is parcel 010398783, 25.29 acres.
The last one.
This is the same thing. Down in the corner of this farm, there's a big gully, and then there's the dam. And this is actually the first piece the day when Mr. Pittman was out that we looked at. And market wasteland, and it is. But it shows up, see, timber every year. So I took that off and adjusted it.
All right, and with this request, you're recommending that the assessor is saying that it's $294,903 in your evaluation, based upon your calculations, is $289,049, correct?
I tell you, I am having trouble hearing you, I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. So I just want to verify. The assessed value is $294,903, and your recommendation, your calculations say that the valuation should be $289,049.
I adjusted back to like 289,047, you see that?
047. Okay, thank you.
No.
Yeah, if you also note, though, the referee made an adjustment to
On this property,
to an outbuilding on that.
I just want to point out, there's a home site here. It's 0.61 of an acre. I didn't get this one measured. It's too big. It's probably about a fourth, but I didn't contest it. But there's no full acre business. There's the home site at 6100s, and then there is the other ag site where he's using 19,000. I'm only pointing out here, see that this one is basically following the state law and the guidance, 1 acre or less. This one is 61.
All right, any further questions
The only
on that
thing I did
specific?
there was adjust that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Want another one?
Any other questions on the current property? Yep, I think we're ready for the next one.
Now we get into the hairy business. Okay, this is going to be 0104 20754, 171.87 acres. It's where we're living. This one I had in front of the board last year because this one had the double home site problem. There's a page in there on it, and see, this one listed the home site at 0.63. Now that's accurate. I didn't get a tape measure out, but I stepped the sucker off, and I don't take 3-foot steps. Come out at about 0.64. Pretty close. The problem is when you move down, the ag site, which is 0.31, which is accurate, all there is a grain bin there. But then he adds another site at 0.37 at 100,000. And see, that 100,000 is reserved strictly for home sites. That don't belong there. And I simply had to ask you to remove it last year. Now, so I took that 37 off, and then on this farm, he had wasteland that was always wasteland. He added some back now and started coming up with this timber 1, timber 2 stuff. So I put that back, and then I adjusted the numbers. Which is on the front page. Man, I tell you, my numbers look too high. me see what the county, what he had on it.
Yeah, I think so. For this one, the county had assessed at $985,038,
Okay,
and then
I see it. Yeah, they had 985,000. I reduced it to 944.06, taking the 37 and readjusting the 8 last one.
So you have no homes on this property, or do you have one home? I thought you said a grain bin. What's on this property?
What's on the property?
Yeah, building-wise.
There's no home on that property.
Pardon?
Is there a home on that property?
Absolutely.
There's a home?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm currently living in it.
okay,
The home there, yeah.
okay.
but there's just one home. Is that accurate?
And there's definitely a home site there. We have water, septic, everything. And he's got the measurements, at .63, and
Right.
it's listed right.
Right,
Problem here is, see, we got another 37 stuck on the bottom there, calling it a site at 100,000. That don't belong there.
right, and that's what we're trying to get clear here. You have one home site on this property,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Nothing else.
No, that's
Oh, it says there's an outbuilding,
What's that?
outbuilding.
Wait, okay,
Says there's a one home, well, it doesn't say one, but it says there's improvements for a building and outbuilding. So whatever an outbuilding is, I assume it's a shed or something like that. It's a grain bin,
Yeah.
barn,
right. Right, one home site. That's-
one home site.
Got it. Okay,
Okay, on this property, and I put that sheet in there, from meeting with the referee, then we had the assessor comment. Assessor comment, again, is kind of disturbing. The first acre, regardless of whether it is a home or a site, is valued at $100,000. That's not accurate at all. Your home site is the only one that could be valued 100 or less, because that's their number they're using now from this model. But you can't apply the 100,000 to other sites, which is what the comment is. Now, I know why the comment's there, because of a kind of either a misstatement last year or whatever, that state law required him to take a full acre. So I'll take some here and I'll take some over here, seeing it adds up to $100,000. That's not right. And that's in that comment.
All right. Any further questions or discussion on this parcel of property? I think we're ready for the next.
You want another one?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this one's going to be 10403329, 14.89 on Cape Heart Road. This is actually, was my dad's place, so we still have it. This is one that is the same thing. We wound up with 2 home sites on it. Home site, ag site, then another site at the 100,000. It's the same one I had in there last year, and then you corrected it. Now, I corrected just a little bit more because on the map, on the right, it'd be the east corner. There's a strip of timber in there, and then over on the other side. And of course, he's using timber too because it brings in more, and I put that little bit back to waste because I can't farm it. Okay, from that, then I adjusted the value to $216,088 by taking off that second home site and a little bit of wasteland.
right, any questions or discussion on this parcel? All right, I think we are, I think we're ready for the last one.
Pardon?
I think we're ready for the next one.
ready? Okay.
Yep, thank you.
This gets kind of complicated, this water business. This is 010392971. This is my wife's home place, and we finally got the thing after 50 years to where we're going to move in, and the well goes dry. Now, it didn't go completely dry. A year ago, I started fighting it because I have cattle too, and we're getting air in the lines. And I got the well man out there. I used Don Bornemeyer from Murdoch Well Company. And we checked everything. We couldn't figure the air out. And then we went to check this well. It's what's called a tile well. It's 50 feet deep, put in either 2 or 3 feet tile. Use that down there because we're down there by them big ditches and rock is high. It's damn hard to find water. But we did get a good well there 23 years ago. Okay. And I've just literally used the hell out of it. I've seen everything, the tanks run over, never out of water. Well, for some reason, the air quit and we got by last year. Now during the winter, we're having trouble again. Well, it's cold, so I get Bornemeyer over there early there in the year, and the well had dropped 16 feet. We're down to 4 feet, and we can get a little bit. If I turn it off, let it sit, and maybe I get 10 gallon. But we had intended to move in this place, and now it's not livable. There's two. So, first thing on this one, I adjusted, he had a full acre on the home site. I measured that son of a gun. I got a map, and the most I can get out of it is a half an acre. So I had asked the referee to adjust that back to 50,000, but basically ignored it. The water issue I covered with the referee. Like, I should not be paying taxes on that house. I can't pay taxes on the home site because the home site definition, it has to have water. It's got to have all the necessary things or it's not a home site. We don't have water. So, in reality here, you have to take $383,391 off of this home and $100,000 off of that. And then that would relieve my remaining value at $120,492. Now, referee, he put a little deal in where there's $30,000 added into these things for well, septic and stuff where you're paying taxes on. So he took $10,000 off out of that. But that, that's not covered. You can't pay taxes on a house you can't live in. Now, I had hoped to get a new well if we can find water. Jensen and Blair, I went after him, and he's 5 months out. Bornemeyer, who I'd been using, he had everybody in Cass County out of water. So I'm on the waiting list. Maybe in 2 months, I'm hoping, if I can find a decent well, we'll get the place back up in shape again. The question is, we've already gone January, February, March, April, May, June, July. See? So I'm asking you to take that off of there until I can get a well. And I don't know how the assessor or anybody could object to that. You don't have water, you can't pay taxes on it. The home site, if it doesn't have well, it's not a home site by definition. Now, if I got the thing going, I could let the county know I got water, okay? And maybe I get 3 months out of it yet. I would think I could get somebody in there, before fall, but hell, they don't return phone calls. They're just swamped. I don't know why. Bornemeyer in Cass County said all the wells were way down, and then these cattle people, they didn't have water in their pastures, so I was on the waiting list.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Any questions or further discussion with Mr. Patterson? Seeing none, thank you for your time.
Pardon?
Thank you for your time and discussion.
Okay, thank you.
It's 2:40. I just want to get a sense of how many other speakers there are. If you're planning to provide comments to the board, please raise your hand. In the audience, is there anybody else that's planning to speak to the board today?
No, not now.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Fine, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Clayton Reeves. My address is 16122 South 120th Street. My protest number this year is 613. This has been an ongoing issue for many years. Each year, the SCB referee comes back regarding lowering the quality rating of my property, but the following year, pardon me, the assessor's office ignores last year's referee and SCB decision, or recommendations and SCB decision. The assessor's office had inflated the quality of our property when they were shown, or after they were shown, the window defects, which was the basis of a class action lawsuit against the manufacturer with the seals. I've shown them in person the coating peeling from the siding, the defective windows, the broken and sinking concrete, the driveway, the boarded up patio door, that they had mismeasured the outbuilding size, which they had increased the size of. I've shown them in response that year, they raised the property size above the legal description and increased the quality of construction rating from when it was built and brand new in 1997. Last year, the assessor's office provided false information to the referee that our house was not built by a tract builder, which is Highland Homes, which was owned by Ron Ewing, who had a higher price point of South Fork Homes as well. I have submitted documentation about our house lacking house wrap, which is a building standard. And by definition, that means that this is substandard construction. I had previously submitted comparable average quality rated properties, 4 of which could be seen from our property, which I think real estate is called location, location, location. They were similarly situated and it could be seen from our property. They had permanent siding and or brick siding. Now, 2 of these homes had additions put on. One added a bedroom, the other visibly a 3-car garage. Each of these was then upgraded in quality of construction from average to a higher rating. County Assessor Dan Pittman's house has added construction on his house by adding a roof construction extending out over his deck, and he upgraded from masonite or hardboard siding to permanent siding. And yet Mr. Pittman's house remained at average quality for the rating. My property card shows that Jameson McShane had inspected our property in 2022. But my last conversation with Mr. McShane was that he had never been to our property. And that was this year. As far as referee credentials versus the credentials of anybody in the Sarpy County Assessor's Office, the referee's credentials are always much higher, and they were much higher when the house was appraised in 1997 when it was newly built and constructed, and Mr. Mitchell of Mitchell and Associates had actually done the appraisal. Now, he didn't realize, I'm sure, that there was no house wrap on the house. The lack of house wrap has resulted in, and provided by documentation, that it has structural damage underneath the siding. Again, back to substandard. So I'm asking and if they, originally when they came out this year, they'd put us at average plus, which was the raised thing for quality. They later lowered it to average, but the referee's notes from last year are that it should be fair plus for quality. Pardon me? And if they had put it at fair plus for quality, I wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be wasting taxpayer money year after year after year after year. You can look and see how many years I've done this. So I'm asking the SCBE board, or the Sarpy County Board of Equalization, to ensure that taxpayers' money is not wasted annually, and that the assessor's office and employees be held accountable and follow the referee's decisions regarding ratings of quality and condition in future valuations unless a change occurs at the property. Once I get siding and structural issues remedied, then return me to the average construction quality of when it was originally built and brand new in 1997. But I'm going to ask because I'm tired of false information, and then I have to fight it every year.
You happy with the referee's recommendation this year?
Pardon me?
Are you happy with the referee's valuation?
Yes. And the reason that I asked for the amount that I did this year was because the Sarpy County Assessor's Office won't give you a value of what it would be if it was at an fair plus quality rating. I've asked before, and they have refused to give it. So I used last year's valuation for what I asked for this year. But I am not opposed to what the referee has said, other than he mentioned that something about the house wrap. Well, to me, the house wrap, if it's not there, which is a building standard, then by definition, the construction would be substandard. If you have any questions, I've got an entire box of things that I've submitted previously as exhibits every year. But every year, as nice as you folks are, why am I here? Why do I have to see you? Why do we have to do this?
It's a great question, but we don't have an answer for it, so.
We do appreciate you being here, Mr. Reeves. Appreciate you educating us on the situation and the condition of your home. But it does sound like you do agree with the referee's change in valuation. just make sure that's accurate.
Yes, I'm fine with that, but as nice as you folks are, I'd rather not see you next year.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. All right, this is a public hearing. The Board of Equalization, any further valuation challenges from the audience? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And I would entertain motions if we want to move forward with changes based upon the testimony that we've heard. I guess we'd start with Gerald Van Deska. Property was the first individual that we heard from.
Well, maybe I'll take a stab at this, okay? So I'll make a motion that we accept all the referees' recommendations except as noted. And we'll go through the ones that I have, and if I'm missing a couple because I was here a little late, you guys can jump in. On the Venduska property, 102, my motion is that we accept the Venduska recommendation of $794,189. On 103, we accept the Venduska recommendation of $340,035. And on 104, we accept the Venduska recommendation of $103,582. On the Patterson properties, there's 6 of them. Do you want the lot number, or do you want the?
I have them by protest number and I have.
Okay, so I'll try to abbreviate and just give you the protest number.
Okay, in the record, we do need to state land value, improvements, and total amount, and based on.
Oh, great.
Do you have that down, Dave?
Yeah.
Do you have it, Dave?
Yep.
I mean, I could pull it up here. I got it.
Here are all the Patterson ones.
Okay,
I'll get the
all right.
rest for you.
Okay, so on Patterson, protest 638-0103-92971. The assessor's valuation is $214,944 for the land, $383,391 for the improvements, $5,548 for outbuildings, and the protested total is $603,883.
I don't think you have to say all of those, right? You just need to say what your motion is on just in the interest of time. I think you just have to say the different values on the ones you're saying that you want to move.
Okay,
to be.
well then, okay, that's fine. Thank you. On this one, I would motion that we accept the referee's recommendation because it's the lower figure. It's $593,883.
I'm sorry to interject, but I think if it's only if we're making a change from the referee's recommendation, right? Correct. So if you're.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry I wasted your time on that line.
Sorry, just trying to help.
But let's, okay, and so I'm also going to agree on 637. Let's go to 638. No, wait, I already did that. 637, I agree. 636. We just need the protested value for the counties. Is that all we need?
Just need whatever you want. If you want to change it to something, you have to say the land, the building, and the total of what you want to change it
Okay,
to.
well, I don't have his protest in front of me. Somebody help me out on that.
Is that the Van Deska?
No, I'm doing Patterson. This is 633.
Yeah, these numbers up here align with these numbers right here.
Okay. Are you with me still? Okay, I'm not sure I'm with me still, so, okay, so we did this one.
So I need
Okay. 636. Okay, I think I said 633. Is that the one I was on? Well, that's the one I'm going to. Okay, 633.
Okay.
That's the protest number. The parcel ends in 783. The county's valuation is 294,903. Buildings are. Do you need the? Okay.
Just only if you want to
Okay.
change from the referees.
The amended valuation is 289,047.
289,047.
Yeah.
I think you have to say land and of that total number, you have to say how much of it is land.
Okay.
Is building.
The land is 196,641. The buildings are 88,431. And the outbuildings, oh boy, math in public here.
Or whatever's left.
That would be, well, it's a subtraction from the original total. So the outbuildings look like they're going to be 1,000. $1,031 for a total of 289,047.
Okay.
Okay, and to check my math on that. Okay, 636. Okay, the county's valuation, the last three are 754 on the parcel number. The county's valuation is 985,038. Going to accept the protester's valuation of 944,605, which is comprised of 839,363 for the land, 93,142 for the buildings, 1,210 for the outbuildings. Property that ends in 329, which would be 635, 2025 635. The county's valuation is 268,346. The amended valuation is 216,088, which is comprised of land 122,060, buildings 92,489, outbuildings 1,539. Property that ends in parcel 971, which is protest number 638. The county's valuation is 603,883. The referees is 593,883, but I'm going to amend it to the protesters' valuation of 546,983. That's $158,044 for the land, $383,391 for the buildings, and $55,548 for the outbuildings.
Hey, Don, did you say 383? I think for the,
That's what, 3.
oh, yeah, never mind.
383, 391. Okay, and then let's see, this one I agree with. Did I get them all? I think we agree with 2, and I think I read 4 into the record. Is that right? Okay. Okay, then on the Reeves property, which is a protest.
I don't want to interrupt you on that last one.
Just let me get through this for a second, then we'll get back to you. Just stand by for 1 second here.
Well, I had my figures on the other. My only question is, this was the farm where I lost the water and everything, and I'm not getting, what you're doing, you're not adjusting it.
Well, I just read what you have on your form.
No, it's written in underneath, and then it's all figured on a separate page.
I think you've read the one that you want.
Pardon?
I think you read the one you want.
Can I hold?
Well, hang on. Let me see here.
I think it's page 2 where he has the subtraction of like 100,000.
Oh. Well, okay. Can you tell me what you want here?
Can I show you this?
Yeah. I mean, I see the things, but, so, this is what you're talking about?
No, this is getting the house off, and it's getting that house site off because it has no water. So this is what comes off,
Oh, okay.
and
So that's your value right there.
that cuts the value down to that.
Okay.
And the assessor didn't object. Nobody objected, see, to taking the house, and it's a fact, okay? It's just, these numbers up here are confusing to you, and I apologize for that. That's before this water issue got. And then I wrote in-
I got you.
I wrote in underneath there. See?
So I need to know what the land is. What's the land? The land 158,048 or 044?
Just a second.
Okay, well, why don't you look that up and I'll carry on here. Reeves is protest 613. It's parcel 053. The county's evaluation is 450,048. Oh, wait, we're going to accept the referee on that one. So even though I think he had a lower number, he never gave it to me. So that one, we're good because I've already said we're going to accept the referee's recommendation. Okay, now I'm ready for you. And you guys jump in if you can help me on this one because I'm
Appreciate
confused.
you leading the charge on this one, Don. I'm just going to let you go ahead and finish it
All
up.
right, what do you got? What's your land value? Here's what I need. I need your land value, your building value, and your outbuilding value, and then a total value.
Pardon?
I need your land value.
Here's the sheet that will show the land value. You know how to look at it? I'm sure you do.
That right there?
Yeah, see, the land value,
That's not even close to that.
I'm not, I don't think we're protesting the land value, see, except in the beginning, we were protesting 50,000 of it because
All right, hang on for a second.
we had too much on the site.
This is 271 parcel number. Let me find your thing here real quick. 271. Okay. So okay. So the land value would be 214,944.
Maybe it would help.
I got that.
Yeah, what's the total starting value of everything there that the county's got? It'll be added up. Oh, up here it is.
603,883.
603,000.
Right. 603.
Right, and what I'm taking off is the house value.
I got you.
So the land and the outbuilding are the same?
The house and the site value, taking that off on account of the order. So that's 483,391 off of the 603,88.
So the only thing you have is land value, correct? Land value, that's it.
Yeah,
Okay, I think I got it.
so there should be a remaining value on this property, land value, 120,400 and something.
Well, okay, because you took 100,000 off because there's no home site.
100 off of that home site, because the definition, it's not a home, if it doesn't have,
I got it.
okay?
I got it. Okay, so this is just a correction here, or a clarification for the record. This is on 971, protest number 638. The county's valuation is 603,883. The protester's valuation is $58,044, which consists of $158,044 for land. Nothing for building, nothing for outbuilding.
Right.
Do we still need the outbuilding? Just the house would be taken off. Is that accurate?
He took off both of them. I don't know.
I think he had a value, just
You get
not
a
a
value,
home site
All right.
value.
And Kendra, did you capture all that for the motion?
I believe so.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Kelly.
This is going in the Hall of Fame of motions right here.
And we're done with reading?
I
Are we done with?
I will need to amend. Do I do that and after you make the motion?
I don't know, maybe.
He's got the motion. You made it?
Yeah, I made
I'll
it.
second his motion.
All right,
Okay.
and you want to make an amendment? Commissioner
Yes,
Mixon?
I'd like
We got to
to,
vote on it first, or? No, okay.
No, we need to.
I'd like to amend the motion to remove protest 2025-559 because that is on my personal residence. And I would like that to be voted on separately. That was for storm damage on my house. So the referee, it has been reduced by roughly $19,000.
Okay.
Do we second that?
That would have to be a separate motion, wouldn't it? And it would be,
believe
that
so.
would be a separate motion, which would be before Don's. So insert his motion before Don's.
Okay, I'll second Gary's motion.
So
And
we're
this,
doing a separate motion,
Yeah,
not
you'd have
including
to.
what Don said?
this,
We're
I don't know
going to
how else
remove
you could do it
Gary's
to keep it
first,
clear.
and then,
Because if we vote on Don's, we accept a referee's recommendations. So we're going to insert a motion which removes one of those recommendations.
We can,
Don's motion was to vote on, or to accept the referee's recommendations with the exclusions of.
Yes.
Gary is asking that that motion be amended to include his protest number.
Yes.
So it can be
Okay,
done that way, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
so for this motion, we've got Mixon and Warren. Is that correct?
correct.
Okay.
sure.
Let me clear the votes.
All right, any discussion before we vote? Please vote.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed.
Opposed? Okay. Oh, that one. We had A's for, opposed, Burmeister, motion carried.
All right, agenda item 6 is recess the Board of Equalization, so.
You still,
No,
Commissioner,
you need to
I think,
vote on.
yes, still to vote on Mr.
Thank you.
Mixon's.
Yeah,
Thank you
you
very
need
much.
to, now there needs to be a motion.
Oh, now we're just voting on Gary's, okay.
All right,
Okay, so
Or I'll let
let's,
somebody else do it, to make the motion to vote for.
could you clarify what that motion is exactly, just to make sure?
and it was protest 2025,
Just on Mixon's, right?
Yeah, just on
I
559.
will make the motion
559. Okay.
to, and you're asking for it to be removed from the referee's list.
No,
No, we already did that. He-
that's already done.
Asking
Now,
whether-
you will need to vote on it separately. So a motion to vote on 2025-559, somebody needs to make.
I'll make a motion that we accept the referee's recommendation. How about that?
There you go.
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Warren. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
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 All
I
vote aye?
abstain.
Abstain, okay. We got A's for, abstain, Mixon, motion's carried.
All right, now at this time, we're going to recess the Board of Equalization. It is 3:08 PM. Make a motion to recess as Board of Equalization for all residential, commercial, and rural properties with or without improvements, subject to the call of the chair anytime through 4:45 PM, July 25th, 2025. Should the chair not reconvene prior to that time, then this board shall be adjourned effective at the close of business day, July 25th, 2025 at 4:45 PM.
Do we have a second?
Second.
For myself?
Motion second by Burmeister. Any discussion?
Comment? I'd just like to thank the referees again for their outstanding work this year, and I'd like to thank the assessor staff for all their hard work, and of course the clerk staff and the attorney staff. It's a mountain of information here, and we're trying to pour through it in 2 hours, and it wouldn't even be possible if they hadn't have done all the prep work. So thank you for your efforts.
And I also apologize for our blundering through this. I've done this for 15 years, and to on the fly make these motions and changes, we need to figure out a better system for us to track it. And I apologize for those who sat here and watched us struggle through it.
Based on that, I would second Commissioner Kelly's comments. We appreciate everybody's time and work on this. It is very, very complicated. With that, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, we'll take a 5-minute break and reconvene at 3:15 at the latest to get to the next meeting. All right. The time is 3:18 on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. Calling to order the Board of Equalization reconvene. Public comments. We do have Open Meetings Act is on the north wall of the boardroom. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address the Board of Equalization before we move on to the rest of the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to the consent equalization agenda, regular business items that are routine, which are expected to be adopted without dissent. I entertain a motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Kelly, second by Warren. Any discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Moving on to the regular equalization agenda. 4.1 is rejection of homestead exemption Form 458R for Jack Stevens for Lot 102 Chestnut Ridge, parcel 0115699028. Protest. Jack Stevens, applicant, if he's present. Yes, if you'd like to address the board, please just come up and state your name if you'd like to address the board. Otherwise, see, Stan Pittman's still here. If we have any questions, the assessor is here as well.
My name is Roxanna Stevens.
Thank you.
I simply forgot to send the form in. And I'm truly sorry.
Oh,
No problem.
No
I'll make a
problem.
motion that we extend the deadline.
Second.
we have a motion by Burmeister, second by Warren to extend the deadline. Any further discussion from the board or any further comments?
No, thank you very much.
All right, seeing none, please vote to extend the deadline.
Aye.
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 Apologize, you need to make a trip over to do this.
Yeah.
Me too, but that's okay. It gave me something new. Kind of broke up my life.
Are you approving the homestead?
What?
Are you also approving the homestead?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tabby. That was my question, is what was I missing?
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, item 4.2 is rejection of homestead exemption form 458R for Donald Krupski for W120 Lot 19 Hillcrest Parcel 100475087. Protest applicant, I apologize if I butchered your last name.
That's me, Kupski.
Kupski, thank you. Another situation where it was just sent late. Does needed.
I'll just move again that we extend the deadline and accept the homestead application.
We just missed the date. We had, she wrote it down the calendar on July instead of June. She had.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion by Burmeister, second by Warren to extend the deadline. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, up next is item 4.3 is notice of evaluation change under overs. Dan Pittman is available for questions should we have any.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, second by Burmeister. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, 4.4 is notice of evaluation change put into Greenbelt 11. Once again, Dan Pittman, our assessor, is here for any questions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, second by Mixon. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
And lastly, we have text correction 17.613, 17.614. Dan Pittman is here for
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion by Kelly, second by Warren. Any discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, with that, there's no need for executive session, so the Board of Equalization will recess.
Okay.
All right. It is now 3:22 PM, calling to order the Board of Commissioners. Today we have Commissioners Kelly, Burmeister, Warren, Mixon, and Klug, as well as our County Administrator Bonnie Moore, Tabby Belushi from the Clerk and Register of Deeds Office. We have Jason Carter from the Treasurer's Office, Dan Pittman, our County Assessor, and Denny Wilson, our County Engineer. With that, we do have public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address the board before we move on to the rest of the agenda items? Seeing none, we will go on to awards and proclamations. First one is Resolution 2025-189, nominees for the 2025 Merit Award for Exceptional Job Performance and Service to Sarpy County. If I could ask the other commissioners to please join me on the floor for that recognition. All right, today is a very exciting day in Sarpy County. It's good to see so many people come to the meeting. As I call your name for recognition, if you could please come up to be recognized, I would appreciate it. Today is a very exciting day in Sarpy County. We get to recognize employees whose work stands out among the workforce of more than 700 dedicated public servants. 9 employees are receiving the Merit Award this year. The employees we honor today were put forward by their leadership for doing exceptional work. They have shown overall excellence in service and innovation, creativity and problem solving and initiative, outstanding teamwork or leadership. In recognition of their achievement, they will receive a one-time payment of 3% of their salary. That's the really exciting part. The mildly less exciting part is indeed the certificate that you'll be getting from the board today, but we appreciate you being here. Thank you for going above and beyond and making Sarpy County a wonderful place to work and to live in. As I call your name, please come forward to accept your award. At the end, we would like to take a group photo of everybody. First up, we have Maria Belusini from Child Support Services. Christy Barg with the Department of Corrections. Sarah Eberly with the Election Commission. Renee Frankman with Administration. Tim Henderson with Veteran Services. Kimberly Kuzak with Emergency Communications. Colby Olson with the District Court. And lastly, Chris Reed with Community Corrections. And I realize everyone tried to escape and go back to your seats, but if you come back up, we'll get a real quick group picture. We really appreciate the opportunity to recognize you for the wonderful work that you do for the county. So please join us briefly. All right. We're going to have to squeeze it.
Ladies in front, ladies in front.
We haven't met Martin so much.
All right. And we do also want to recognize Annette Martin from the Public Defender's Office. I don't know how she got missed, but
Make it 6%.
yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, that was my fault. I do want to thank everybody for being here, the employees for being recognized. It's wonderful being a commissioner, and obviously a lot of that goes into the people that we get to work with. All right, moving on to agenda item. But that is a resolution. So, is there anybody that would like to
Move to approve.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Warren. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, moving on to item 4.2 is proclamation for National Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week in Sarpy County, July 20th through 26th, 2025. Today, the board is also issuing a proclamation to recognize National Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week. Sarpy County Corrections Team is committed to accountability, to rehabilitation, and to driving down recidivism. Their work is demanding, challenging, and essential to the criminal justice system. We're grateful for their dedication to improving outcomes, both for the individual and for the public safety of our communities. I now would like to read the proclamation into the record. Whereas Sarpy County Community Corrections Departments manage court order programming that promotes public safety, helps rehabilitate participants, and reduces recidivism. And whereas Community Corrections oversees house arrest, work release, reentry assistance, pretrial services, and community service programs. And whereas these employees are dedicated and trained professionals who administer assessments, provide information to the court, and supervise participants through the routine check-ins, drug testing, and GPS and alcohol monitoring. And whereas their work allows participants to maintain employed while meeting benchmarks and working toward rehabilitation. And whereas the staff's work is an essential piece of the criminal justice system because it diverts participants from jail when a judge determines it's appropriate to address underlying issues to keep our communities safe. And therefore, to express our appreciation of their efforts, the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the week of July 20th through the 26th, 2025 as National Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week in Sarpy County, Nebraska. Approved on the 22nd day of July 2025.
Chairman, I see that Megan Jacobson, the Director of Community Corrections, is here. Do you want to say a few words and maybe recognize your staff? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Thanks, Bonnie, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Megan Jacobson. I am the Director of Community Corrections here in Sarpy, and pretrial is our largest program underneath this title. That's okay.
National Pretrial Probation and Parole Supervision Week is an annual observance that takes place during the third full calendar week of July. This week is dedicated to recognizing the contributions of over 100,000 community correction professionals who work tirelessly to enhance public safety and support individuals under supervision. The theme for 2025 is Heroes Behind the Mission, Transforming Lives, Enhancing Public Safety. This theme emphasizes the critical role that community correction professionals play in transforming lives and ensuring the safety of communities as we help manage jail population. What we do is assist the courts in making informed decisions about individuals who have been arrested and are awaiting trial. These services focus on evaluating risk, ensuring court appearances, and promoting public safety through supervision and monitoring devices. I want to take a moment to recognize the commitment, professionalism, and compassion of our pretrial service staff as we are having a record high year. These individuals often work under pressure to interview and assess individuals after arrest, monitor and support individuals released before trial, and ensure accountability. Their work is critical not only for managing risk, but also for treating each person with dignity and fairness. They are often meeting people at one of the most uncertain moments in their lives, and I just want to say thank you to my staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll now move on to item 5, which is Commissioner and Administrator comments and announcements, starting with Commissioner Kelly.
I think I'm good, thanks.
Do you want to recognize our new election commissioner? Is he still-
No.
He was here earlier.
I know. Well, I guess it's, I can announce it even though he's not here because I told him to leave. Sorry. David Jones is our new election commissioner, and he's an excellent choice. Air Force Academy graduate, military officer, retired. He had some experience and leadership experience in the defense contracting sector, and he's also been an employee at Gallup for about the last dozen years. So he's going to bring some depth and breadth of leadership experience to the county, and he's just really a great guy. I've known him for about 20 years, and couldn't be happier for him and his family. So he'll be back on. He's going to be doing some formal training down at the Secretary of State's office. He'll be back on August 11th and address the board, and we'll formally introduce him that day.
No comments.
No comment.
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Just one brief comment. Annette Martin, you're not here, but I apologize for missing you. She had her own section of the crowd that was standing up and cheering for her. So I want to congratulate her and everybody else on the Merit Awards, and thank Commissioner Kelly for coming up with the idea of that as well. With that, we'll move on to item 6, which is the consent commissioner's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Burmeister.
Second.
Second by Kelly. Any discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right. Up next is Planning and Zoning Agenda. Item 7, 7.1 is a public hearing and resolution 2025-186, final plat of a subdivision to be known as lots 1 through 8 and outlots A through G, Cornish Ridge, being a platting of the east half southwest quarter and east half of tax lot 2 in section 5, T12N, R11E, of the 6th Prime Meridian, Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located northeast of 192nd Street and Cornish Road. Applicant 18606 Cornish Road, LLC. Robert, and I'm going to butcher your name, LaRocco?
LaRocco. Yes.
All right, I got it right. Planning Director, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, this afternoon, I'm here to discuss the final plat for Cornish Ridge. Property is comprised of 55.32 acres, located northeast of 192nd and Cornish Road. Property is currently in use as agricultural land with a homestead located on the southern portion of the property. The site slopes downhill from north to south to an area of trees and grassland located in the southwest portion of the property. The applicant today is proposing a total of 8 lots and 7 outlots proposed for development and transfer. The lots range in size from 3 to 5 acres each. Here's a lot layout for you. A rezoning from agricultural farming district to residential estates 2 district was approved as part of the preliminary plat and will become effective as a part, or once the associated final plat is recorded. And also note that the property is in a conservation development overlay. Property, or the development, is proposing the construction of 186th Street from south to north through the property. It cuts a little bit to the west there, as well as Old Post Road east and west across the property. At this time, or as a part of this development, they're proposing to build to this central intersection. Give you a little bit better view here. Kind of shows which would be developed as a cul-de-sac road until such time as property to the east and west is developed, at which point those road connections would be made, and to the north as well, I should note. But as a part of this development, they are just proposing to do the cul-de-sac road. The proposed final plan and associated rezoning comply with all requirements of the Sarpy County Comprehensive Plan, zoning, and subdivision regulations. There are no waivers that are being requested as a part of the final plat. Item of note for this particular plat, 40.56% of the total area of the plat is being set aside within conservation outlots. You'll note those are going to be located here along the west, towards the southwest, and then over here on the northeast corner as well. Outlets B through E will be owned and maintained by the owners of lots 1 through 4. So these will go along with the associated or adjacent properties. Outlots A, F, and G will remain under applicant ownership at this time. Outlot A in particular is the location of the proposed water system. Planning Commission conditions of approval for the final plat have been or are already addressed. So staff recommends approval of the final plat lots 1 through 8 and outlots A through G of Cornish Ridge, subject to the comments and attachments of the recommendation report. I'm available for questions at this time.
Thank you, Robert. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Any further discussion?
I didn't know if the developer wanted to come up and speak. Yeah, no.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, please vote.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
Thank you, Robert. All right, 7.2 is Resolution 2025-185, subdivision agreement between 18606 Cornish Road LLC, Sarpy County, for the subdivision to be known as lots 1 through 8 and outlots A through G of Cornish Ridge, generally located northeast of 192nd Street and Cornish Road. Stephen Preston, Deputy County Attorney.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is the county standard form for development where there are limited or no public improvements, which is the case here. You'll note that the declaration of deed restriction for the conservation easement is attached as Exhibit A or E, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Kelly. Any discussion? Please vote.
Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, item 8 will come to later. So at the moment, I'm going to put the Board of Commissioners into recess. We'll move on to the Board of Corrections. We'll come back for the correctional facility tour. All right, the time is 3:40 p.m. Calling to order the Board of Corrections. Today we have with us Commissioners Kelly, Burmeister, Warren, Mixon, and Klug, as well as Bonnie Moore, our County Administrator, Tabby Belushi from the Register of Deeds Office. I'd like to open it up now to public comments. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address the Board of Corrections? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, the Corrections Agenda, minutes from the April 29th, 2025 meeting. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Warren. Any discussion?
Aye.
Please vote. Aye.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carried.
All right, item 4.2 is Board of Corrections update. Joe Martin, Corrections Director. Hey, Joe.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'll start off by saying our population has been around 266, and we have our average length of stay is about 21 days. We have under the Marshal's contract, approximately 45 inmates that are falling under that contract. We also have a new class of 6 that will be starting on August 11th. We've been very busy over the last few months. We implemented a cage screening tool just to identify individuals coming in that could have a possible substance use disorder, to identify and see how big of a need we have for substance use. And then I also wanted to take a moment and we have also a GED program that Creighton comes in once a week to tutor individuals. And when they go to testing, it costs $36 and Creighton does pay for that. They also, since we have such a short length of stay of 21 days, it's very challenging to have somebody actually finish. And we did have our second graduate ever graduate last week. So that was very exciting. And people that do fail one of the tests have to wait 30 days, but they can continue in the community to get their GED. And then today on the tour, we're going to talk about our new reset unit, and we'll go into a little bit details on our tour. So,
excellent. Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. There's no need for executive session in the Board of Corrections. With that, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Corrections is adjourned. At 3:38 or so, we went into recess with the Board of Commissioners. We'll now come back to the Board of Commissioners meeting for a regular agenda. 8.1, Sarpy County Corrections Center Jail Quarterly Tour and Inspections. So with that, we shall return. we live?
Yeah.
All right, all agenda items having been addressed as published to the Board of Commissioners is adjourned.